you out there in YouTube land, this is Trans8010 and I'm back with a Batman action figure review. That is right, it is Batman. Well, not exactly Batman, but definitely someone from his Rogues Gallery. Now, I was kind of inspired to do this from, what was his name? The Dark Knight? Well, anyway, on my animated Mr. Freeze review, this one reviewer put a comment on my page about how he got the Batman and Robin Mr. Freeze. Not the movie one, but the Batman and Robin Mr. Freeze. And hopefully it was coming into the mail. Well, I'm hoping you got it in the mail, because that Mr. Freeze, although I wouldn't own it myself, it is pretty sweet. No, what I'm doing right here is I'm going back to Mr. Freeze. Like I said, it inspired me to do this review. But there's only a handful of Mr. Freeze figures that I own, and really the only other one besides the animated Mr. Freeze is Mr. Freeze from Batman and Robin. This is the first attempt on trying to do a movie-accurate Mr. Freeze for the film Batman and Robin. It does have a little bland card. You probably saw my Batman and Robin card from that 2-pack that I did. It shows you basically everything that you could get from the line. These are some of your launch figures, some of your deluxe figures and deluxe vehicle sets, your other vehicles, and of course some new ones offered in the line. Now, since this is 1997, a lot of times they did not have really interesting card art. Really cool logo though. Batman, the Robin logo spooning the Batman logo. But it also has check marks over which figure this is packaged with. This is very interesting. I guess they're trying to get you to keep at least one of the cards and check off all the figures that you know, as soon as you buy them. Either that or it's just a lazy attempt on Kenner Hasbro's part, and okay, this one's got a check mark of Mr. Freeze, therefore it has to have a Mr. Freeze figure on it. So, with anywho, here is Mr. Freeze. Now, all I'm going to say, this is a very bland looking figure. Now, this is not, I had some people, you know, ravage my other review saying that even though that I kind of like them, that they were still bland even for, you know, late 1990s. Well, you know what, I don't care. Those figures I thought were awesome. They had really cool gimmicks and accessories, and they were just fun for children. This one, I don't really see being fun for children because it's just a plain old Mr. Freeze with his launching cryonic blast bazooka, which is not really movie accurate at all. Luckily, they would release a movie accurate Mr. Freeze in a 2-pack called A Cold Night in Gotham City, and that would actually be just a regular old, you know, bazooka. It didn't have any special gimmicky features like a launching missile or anything like that. And if you can find one, I definitely suggest you try picking it up. I'm trying to locate it myself. Would have been cool if I had that one. I could do like a double review. Oh well, you have to stick with this one. So it launches out, but because the missile is so freaking long because of how large the gun is, it doesn't need to be that long anyway, it doesn't really fire. Actually, it kind of does. Never mind. I thought maybe that since the missile was long, it was going to drag it down. But it actually fires pretty cool distances. Okay, back to Mr. Freeze. Like I said, this figure is pretty bland. It's got a really nice sculpting job to it. As far as I can tell, it's an extremely accurate film version. However, it's the colors that infuriate me. They went with like this periwinkle blue all around his all around his body, the flesh tones are periwinkle blue, and the freeze indicators, as you can tell, they were like a bright blue, kind of like a bright blue whenever he's at full power, and then it goes until almost like a very prismy mirror gray when he's low on power. And he had some sort of, I think this was the little gimmick right here, the little wrist applicator that he could flip open and tell that he was low or high on power. And apparently the suit feeds off of diamonds. Now, I never really got that point either. I never got how the suit runs off of diamonds to keep him cool. They never ever did explain it. They just said that, oh, the suit runs on diamonds. Well, is it kind of like the Decepticons' Energon, where they soak the energy out of like oil or what, and house it into a cube, and then they drink the Energon and they power themselves off? So is it like energy? Is it kind of like the crystals of some other type of movie I can't think of the name of? I'm really grasping at straws here. I cannot see how a suit can be powered by diamonds. Okay, moving on. Like I said, I really don't like the choice of color. In fact, I really think that this should have been more of a chromey, or maybe even more of a glossier silver. To me, the colors are a little bit flat, and they're very unappealing. And this periwinkle is just all over the place. Now, it's probably a little bit more movie accurate than, let's say, the actual deep blue, Arctic blue that they have on here. But it just looks more appealing. You have two shades of blue. For the flesh, you have that periwinkle, and for the indicators, you have the deep blue. So it pops a little bit more. It's just there's two colors. It's very, very blah. Also, it's not really movie accurate because he wore gloves. He did not have the flesh. He did not have any flesh showing besides his face. And getting to the face, this is a dynamic Arnold sculpt. I love the sculpt. It so looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger, but would it kill them to put some eyes in there? I know I'm just being nitpicky here. The eyes are sculpted, they're just not painted. Now, it's bad enough when we don't get painted pupils on the Batman figures, the movie Batman figures, but when we don't get painted pupils on Arnold Schwarzenegger, that's just drawing the line right there. That's inexcusable. It's 1, 2. You could just do pupils. You could do white corneas. Just paint something there. Okay. His standard articulation, his arms only go so far because of the shoulder pads, and he can sit down. You know, in case we ever get that Freeze mobile that will probably never ever come. And his head, of course, moves around. So other than a really dynamic sculpt, some lousy paint job, and pretty much limited posability considering that it was the late 1990s and even Star Wars figures had waist articulation. I mean, waist articulation, people. I mean, you did it for Star Wars, why couldn't you do it for Batman? Because Batman and Robin sucked and we didn't have enough time because they wanted the movie to be released as soon as possible, so we had to fulfill the demand for action figures. No excuse! Okay. He can hold on to the gun, like so, but whoa, because it is so heavy now because of the large gun and the missile, he doesn't stand. So in order to hold the rifle and stand your figure at the same time, you gotta point it down. That's right, you gotta point the rifle down. That looks stupid. It really does, it looks stupid. Especially that if you launch the missile, it looks pretty okay. He still can't hold it up, he'll still fall. But if you want to display it with the missile on, unless you got some really heavy duty, figure stands, you're pretty much just going to have to point it down, so he's just going to freeze the ground. Okay, so that's all I have to say about Mr. Freeze. All in all, he's not that bad of a figure, but they could have just did a little bit more. Just chrome this up a little bit. Use different color blues. Just something. It's a very bland figure, especially for something just called Mr. Freeze. The very first Mr. Freeze introduced in this line was called Ice Blast Mr. Freeze. Then we had the one with the Glacier Sled, or the Chill Dragster, Ice Terror Mr. Freeze. Then there was another Mr. Freeze with the changing armor pieces. I forget what that one was called. And then finally, A Cold Night in Gotham City 2-pack with Mr. Freeze. So, this is the stuttering mess of a review that I have made, and this is Trans8010, and this is actually my 99th video, so my 100th video, spectacular, is just around the corner, and I hope you all tune in to watch, and sayonara.